Sean will try to talk some sense into me, as will Tommy Lugauer, because I'm a little emotional right now. And I'll tell you exactly why. I've got a brain and I've got a heart, okay? My brain tells me a lot of things that are, they make sense.
Oh, do they?
Like my brain tells me the New York Mets just lost 2 games to the Atlanta Braves. They split a 4-game series. Not the end of the world. That's what my brain tells me. My brain tells me the Mets are still in a wild card spot. My brain tells me Sal Licata did not jinx the New York Mets. My brain tells me a lot of, reasonable things about the Mets as they go into the trade deadline. But then you've got this heart. See this heart right here?
I see it.
No, you see a man boob.
Well, I will say it's not as cold as it used to be.
That's right. Man boob heart. I have a heart. And that heart just tells me things that I feel, okay? On Friday night, I was at Citi Field. I was at Citi Field with both of my children. I was there with my wife, and I was having a good old time. The Mets hit 3 home runs in an inning. They scored 7 runs against the Braves, and I'm happy.
Fireworks?
And I'm feeling good. We ended up seeing fireworks
Right.
on the field, by the way, Sean.
Oh, you got invited that season ticket holder perk?
Season ticket holder perk.
Oh, it's all worth it, Ev.
So it was all good and it was all fun. And in the course of 162 games, there's a moment sometimes that you remember years later, good and bad. We had the argument during the hockey season that the Rangers beating the Islanders in the Stadium Series was going to be featured on the DVD.
Yep, we did.
We remember back in 2009 when the Yankees beat the Braves with the Francisco Cervelli home run.
Cervelli.
That turned out to be the win that really sparked their season. And the Mets have had a lot of those good moments. When Kodai Senga went down like he was shot, and then the Mets responded on Saturday and Sunday by getting completely shut down, first by Spencer Schwellenbacher. That's a real person.
I'm aware. I saw him.
And then by the Atlanta Braves bullpen. I have this sinking feeling in my gut and in my heart that the Mets' high water mark of 2024 was Friday night before Senga went down. Am I being too crazy?
A little too crazy. I think there's plenty of room for negativity today with the Mets because, frankly, when you win those first 2 games versus the Braves, to me, a split was no longer acceptable. The Braves had been reeling. I totally get the negativity. You had to win that series. But you had to win it if you had dreams of really making this thing interesting and being the top wild card and, dare I say, sniffing the struggling Phillies and Dodgers down the line and feeling like you could be the Diamondbacks or you could be the Phillies of the last 2 years, Evan. But ultimately, the Mets are still what they should have been and can be. They're going to be right on the precipice of the last or 5th wild card spot. And the next 9 games, by the way, are a perfect way to flush what happened the last 2 days when you're playing the Twins, Angels, Cardinals in between, and Rockies.
Oh, I agree. Look, dude, go out and beat the Minnesota Twins, and this sinking feeling that's in my man-moob heart could be flushed away. But I'm just being honest with you today that I can't get that out of my head.
Well,
I can't get the thought. And you know what it was? And this is why, as soon as Loogie talks, and I know he's going to be positive, and I need him to be positive today. I want positive Tommy Lugauer. But the difference I think I'm going to have with Tommy, and a lot of people listening, and I never normally do this, is the fact I was there Friday. I'm telling you, there was something in that building that died when Kodai Senga went down. We all felt it. It was a party all night long. And then when Senga went down, there was like this, it was like a funeral, even though they held on and won.
Yeah, but Evan,
I'm telling you.
anytime you lose a player for a year and a player of the magnitude of a Kodai Senga, of course, and this goes for any sport, you are going to be deflated as a fan base and wonder how you recover. Is it the beauty, in many ways, the only one there of the Senga injury that you didn't count on him all year?
I agree with
and
you.
that him coming back was going to be a 6-man rotation anyway. It is as minimal a loss as a team could have of a major player, I think, in this town a long time because they've already rode the whole year without him.
Sean, Evan's brain completely agrees with you. Kodai Senga was a non-factor. I'd be the first to tell you. I almost forgot about his existence during the rehab. And I also didn't do what I've normally done with other young players or other star players, where I say, wait till blank comes back.
Yeah.
Wait till Aaron Rodgers comes back. Wait till Kevin Durant comes back. Wait till David Wright comes back. Like, I played that game my entire life. Never did that with Kodai Senga. So my brain would say, you're right. He was never a part of this team. I'm just telling you. You weren't there Friday.
I know I wasn't.
Lukey wasn't there Friday because no one gave him free tickets. I was there on Friday, and there was like this weird feeling, this crowd-like death when Senga went down, and then to respond by getting shut out essentially in back-to-back games. I know Pete hit the meaningless home run late on Sunday. that almost added to my worry. And that's why I'm being honest with you, and I try not to go too high and too low during the course of a regular season, because Brain Evan is yelling at Hard Evan. Brain Evan's like, shut up, you idiot. Brain Evan's like, dude, it's 2 games, calm down. But Hard Evan is really worried that when we recap the 2024 season, we're going to mention that Friday night. I'm telling you right now.
It depends what your expectations were. And you did state last week that if the Mets don't make the postseason, it becomes a major disappointment.
That's it. By the way, that's my expectation. Make the postseason.
They're making the postseason.
Oh, are they?
They are making the postseason. What changed? And
What are you, Sal Licata now?
No, I really feel this way.
Is the wild card race over?
The wild card race is over. This is the truth, Evan. And everybody can call me a Met hater all you want. The idea that with the Braves reeling, by the way, Lopez will be a big injury for them, depending on what that happened with the forearm tightness.
Yes.
They're not going to catch the Braves. They're not going to be that top wild card. The Braves will always find a way because they continue to find a way. That, to me, is what ended. But ultimately, are the Pirates, the Diamondbacks, even the Padres, who have been red hot, finally lost a game yesterday, are any of them looking like a team that you're going to, strap on and go, of course, they're going to give a honk and a wave past the Mets, and the Mets are going to have series versus these teams coming up? I don't think so. And we have spent the last 2 months in this Mets surge laughing at the notion, whether it was Sal, whether it was me, of anybody talking about the Met locker room in years past. This is the best vibes the Mets have had in a room in some time. The OMG, the grimace, all of that stuff. I don't think that dies with a Kodai Senga injury and 2 losses. You just split with the Marlins last weekend, too. This is who the Mets are. They've won a 4-game series all year. They are a fringe wild card team that likely, because of the fact that David Stern seems to be going and trading for Jesse Winker, and I think more is to come, the bullpen, you hold your breath, they will have enough to get home. Even if it's the 6th wild card, they will have enough to get home.
Didn't work. He didn't get me out of my heart is still sunk. So that didn't work. It was a noble effort.
Okay.
I appreciate it. You used a lot of facts, but the problem is with Evan's heart, sometimes the facts don't work. My brain has talked to my heart for the last 48 hours, and it has not been effective. So maybe Positive Tommy can pull it off. Positive Tommy, who predicted that the Mets would sweep the Atlanta Braves. He was wrong about that. That's okay. You still have a winning record over the last few months. Can you talk Evan's heart out of feeling depression that Friday night was basically the high water mark of the season?
That's why I'm here. That's why Positive Tommy is here. You're right, Evan. I was not in the building on Friday, but I was obviously watching the game. I was watching Twitter. I got your text that there was an audible gasp in the stadium when Kodai Senga went down. And you could see it. Even the lady with the hot dog hat, she looked depressed. Everybody looked down. And I saw the thing that I've seen my entire life from Met fans. We don't deserve nice things. I'm here to tell you, we do deserve nice things, and we are going to get nice things. There's almost this guilt as Met fans where we're like, we feel guilty for existing. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we share a town with the Yankees, and we're always waiting for another shoe to drop. We're always waiting for jinxes and mushes, and it brings out the negativity, whether it's a tweet from Sal, whether it's a concert, whether it's Senga going down. We are always waiting for the other shoe to drop, and here we go. We don't deserve nice things. Damn it, we do deserve nice things. Be positive. March on. This team we fell in love with didn't have Senga. This team we fell in love with is a damn good baseball team. And this team we fell in love with is still in the postseason. And they're going to be in the postseason. Don't make any plans in October for vacations. We are going to be playing baseball. The Mets will be playing baseball. Yeah. And just like the Tin Man, Evan, we're going to get you that heart back.
I need that heart. And quite frankly, that was a nice attempt. I appreciate it. Wow. I'm still deeply concerned.
I think that we could also tell we are on the verge of an election in this country. Whatever political beliefs be damned, that was a lot of Trump in Tommy there. Or at least Shane Gillis doing Trump.
Well, he tried his hardest.
Yeah.
I still have deep concerns that when we are sitting here, whenever we're sitting around, maybe it's Christmas dinner, and we're talking about the 2024 New York Mets.
Dinner with the NFL on Netflix.
That's right. We're going to look back at that Friday night as the beginning of the end. And honestly, the only way to turn things, the only way for my heart to feel better is to kick that Minnesota Twin ass over the next 3 days. Yeah. And that's why these games upcoming before they have that really long West Coast trip, it's really important because they gotta cleanse themselves from what just happened. They had a down Braves team. They had a beaten Braves team. And they managed to kind of take their foot off of the gas.
They had things happen on Thursday night to start the series that never happened in Met Braves series.
Yes.
Laureano doesn't know how to field the ball, the safe call at third. That stuff never happens. And you're right, they let the foot off the gas. But ultimately, Evan, The lineup was completely silent the last 2 days.
That's why they lost. I agree.
But that's been the strength of the team. Does anybody think the depth of this Met lineup is not going to just keep hitting? They had a bad 2 days.
Well, look, here's the truth.
The worst team to have a bad 2 days against.
No, absolutely, and it was the worst timing of it.
Yeah.
And I wonder, and I'll certainly ask this to Tiki tomorrow. Does an injury like that? No, I get Senga didn't pitch all year. Like, that's us as fans kind of just telling you, yeah, he didn't pitch this year. Who cares? I didn't think about him. Kodai Senga's in that locker room. He's a freaking human.
Yeah.
I wonder if him going down the way he did, and I don't know if they showed this on TV, but he hugged every infielder on his way out. He gave Lindor a hug. He gave Pete a hug, and then he left. I wonder if that injury, not from the baseball standpoint, because, Wes, we understand he barely pitched this year, but I wonder if that does kind of deflate a room.
Perhaps on Saturday. Perhaps they come out Saturday and go, I can't believe we just lost Kodai, and the Braves were due to win a game in that. Yesterday, a second carryover when you get the fortunate of Lopez coming out of that game in the third inning and you go silent versus the bullpen until, obviously, Pete Alonso hit his homer. I don't think that's an excuse yesterday. And I know we're probably going to touch on this more. It's probably more also when you take the field like that and your stadium is half empty versus a division rival, that deflates you more than
So now you're blaming us? You're blaming Met fans?
Not the Met fans that were there.
Well, I didn't go, so you're blaming me. I wasn't there Sunday.
No, you did go to 2 of the 4 games. You get a little bit of a pass. But Evan, be real on when you're a team in the midst of a pennant race the way the Mets are, in the midst of all the, I keep using this word, the good vibes and everything, and your nemesis is in the building, and you have already taken 2 games from them, and it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. You can't tell me that when you take the field as a New York Met and you look up and you feel like you're on the Montreal Expos, that's not a little bit deflating.
So Sean's saying it's our fault. We screwed the whole thing up.
How you not go to the game yesterday?
Well, the reality is it's the Mets' fault. They have to bribe us to go to games. That's the reality. When there's a giveaway, we pack the ballpark. When there's no giveaway, nobody's there.
That's a disgrace.
We'll get to that a little bit later on. Now, the other moment in a baseball season, and I stand by this because I've had my arguments with you. I've had my discussions with Tiki over the last few weeks, and certainly with Yankee fans. I don't think you're that bad, and I was bound to turn. And I think specifically, not just the Jazz Chisholm trade, which I'm very high on, as I made clear last week, and I'll have a chance to back it up now. My prediction was if Jazz Chisholm ends up in New York, he'll become a superstar. Oh. Well, we're about to find out.
Oh, it moved Evan last night when he stole third after getting hurt.
I understand. And I think it was a great trade, and we'll get to that coming up as well. But the way they won on Saturday, the back-and-forth nature of Saturday, the bad base running by Juan Soto, where he blew by Luis Rojas the way me and Craig would blow by him in awkward interviews. He tells me to stop. I just keep going. It was me and Juan have something very in common.
I don't blame Juan
for that either. We don't respect Luis Rojas.
I don't blame Juan. The hell with it. I'm never getting home if I'm on third anyway.
But the way they won that game, with Trent Grisham, of all people, coming through the way he did, with Clay Holmes delivering by pitching the 10th inning, I thought everything about Saturday night's victory against Boston, and you combine it with backing it up by winning Sunday.
By the way, Gleyber in extra innings, too.
No doubt. Combine that with the trade for Jazz Chisholm, and I'll tell you another thing I combine it with. And this is my heart speaking, my baseball heart, because I'm certainly not a Yankee fan. This funk began in Boston, and now I think it ends in Boston. So much like I think the Mets may have had a moment on Friday that unfortunately could be that lightning rod of their season, I think the Yankees definitely had one over the weekend, and I would be very, 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 very confident and feeling good based on those things I just described.
I am confident, Evan. Now, I'm going to hold my breath about the bullpen until we see what they do over the next 2 days. But how could you not? And full disclosure, I'll raise my hand. I admitted this yesterday. I shut it off at 8-6 on Saturday night.
What?
I shut the game off.
What?
I was so disgusted with what happened on Friday night.
What kind of fan are you?
A real fan that's had enough.
A real fan? You shut the game off at 8-6 at Fenway. It was a back-and-forth game all night.
Now, Evan, because I work with Evan Roberts and I've learned to be a different kind of fan this year, was the game DVR'd and did I go back no problem? Yes, it was.
Yeah, but when you went back, did you already know the result?
I did.
That's cheating.
It's not cheating. It's not cheating. Evan, what happened Friday night was deplorable. That almost felt like a further cementing ending to the season. Holmes can't get an out.
I agree.
It was awful. So when they come back, tie the game, and then give it back, and it gets to 8-6 on Saturday night, I turned to my wife. I said, let's go to Apple TV and finish Presumed Innocent. I had enough.
So that's where you went.
Where I went. I finished that show. It's 12:30 Saturday night, and I checked my phone to like 44 text messages, and I said, no. No, they didn't.
I'm very disappointed.
No, they didn't. And I went back, and guess what? I saw everything.
Yeah, but that's going to be the story now. When the Yankees, or if the Yankees win the World Series, fulfill my prediction at least of winning the American League East, the game everybody talks about, the sequences everyone talks about, you didn't even see live because you were watching some dopey show on Apple TV.
Great show. Great job. Jake Gyllenhaal deserves all the awards. But, Evan, I had enough. How much bad baseball and blown leads do I need to see?
I understand.
They were lifeless at the end of that game until they weren't.
But that's not true. They scored a run in the 7th. They scored a run in the 8th. They tied the game in the 9th.
Clay Holmes having those 2 innings, I was shocked, stunned. My face could have been stapled to the carpet. I wouldn't have been more surprised.
I was stunned too, but you're right in that kind of win feels like a game turner.
And
then to back it up by winning on Sunday. And I give Carlos Rodon a lot of credit because I thought he was imploding in that 4th inning when he gave up the home runs and the triple to Devers. Yeah. And when he got out of that inning, I was like, holy crap.
That was unbelievable. That was the bet for a guy. I guess the way I want to word this. The best inning I've ever seen a pitcher give up that gave up 3 essential bombs because the Devers shot was too.
Yes.
To get out of that showed guts. That's the kind of guts you need to pitch in the playoffs. I still a long way from trusting him, but the last thing the Yankees needed when they took the field last night off of what happened Saturday was to go out there and Carlos Rodon give you, especially when they scored 3 in the first, give you one of those moments like he's had all year where boom, 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 long balls in the first, second inning. He didn't do that. That win is all on Carlos Rodon. And yesterday, in many ways, because of what happened Saturday night, it felt like reopening day.
I completely agree with you. So to the Yankee fans out there, and we've talked to you a lot over the last month during this horrid stretch, who thought they stink, they're broken, they can't be fixed. Are you with me and Sean that win on Saturday and combine it with the Jazz Chisholm trade and combine it with winning on Sunday may be the moment where everything turns for the good? We'll hear from the Yankee fans, 888-808-1019. And to my fellow Met fan, it's not about being negative. It's about describing real-life emotions. Everything that happened on Friday night, not Sal's tweet, I exonerate him, at least I do as a Met fan, but Senga going down, the crowd just dying, them looking lifeless on Saturday and Sunday. I am deeply worried that much like that 3-game series against the Nationals in 2019, where Michael Conforto had his shirt ripped off and Todd Frazier hit that dramatic game-tying home run, that was the high water mark, and it was all downhill after that. I worry the same is true for the Mets. How is the Met fan feeling as we are one day away from the MLB trade deadline? We'll take your temperature coming up, 888-808-1019. We will get into the trade deadline, what the Mets won't do, what the Yankees should do, and our reaction to Jazz Chisholm, who I believe just needed the opportunity in New York City to become a star.
How do you say his name?
Jazz Chisholm.
Okay.
I won't fail this one. Justin Shackle may struggle.
Oh, they're sweating.
John Sterling has struggled.
Jazz Chisholm.
Marco Belletti may struggle.
Ricky tonight.
Ricky Ricardo may struggle. Craig Carton will probably on purpose struggle. But I know the man's name. Jazzardo Arthur Chisholm.